It's January. We got our first honorable mentions list to cover. Let's get into it right now. Jeff, what's going on, my man?
We're going to do this CBSI honorable mention list. First one of 2019. And I'm excited because there's 4 Golden Age books here. Actually, 3 gold and 1 platinum pulp to talk about.
Oh, it's awesome. Courtesy of comicbookinvest.com, CBSI. You know we cover the top 10 list. Jeff, you were on the list last week.
Yeah, I did made a little
cameo.
Audio. Yeah, a little cameo.
Little true first app happening right there. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for doing that. But CBSI, they pump out their top 10 list every week, but there's always honorable mentions. So there's a couple books that make the list but don't quite break that top 10 count. And a lot of those books are gold. So you know we got The Guru.
These are some great books. So for me, obviously not CBSI, but Jeff's list, JEFF's list, would have had these books in the top 10 every week.
There you go. So hit that subscribe button and let's jump into it. Jeff, let's start this list off. We do have a list of 8 comics, but these aren't in any particular order. But let's just start them off with number 8.
All right, so number 8, we're going to start off with a pulp. So if you're not familiar with pulps are basically small, fiction-based, kind of 128-page books that you can buy off the newsstand. They were like 10 inches by 7 inches by half an inch thick. Now, pulp, they get their name because the paper quality is like a pulp paper, which is like the lowest possible quality of paper. So they are notorious for not being found anywhere above a VG.
What years were these coming out heavily?
So they're going to be mostly from 1896 to about 1950s.
Okay,
and
super old.
Yeah, and really it hit its stride in the 20s and 30s. So another cool fun thing about pulps is that you get the word pulp fiction because they were fiction books and they were pulp paper, and that's where that term derived from.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so coming in on this list is A Weird Tales, published in November of 1935. Now this book is guides at $175, but we just had a sale of over $700 on it. So I'm going to assume it's a really nice copy because those books, like I mentioned earlier, are near impossible above VG.
Wow. Now, I can see why this particular book would be attractive. I mean, it is a attractive cover. This is a lurid cover. But is this common in the pulp era?
Yeah, I mean, they were notorious for that. I mean, the lurid covers, sci-fi covers, whatever could get them to pull the book off the stand. And they were all painted covers. They were gorgeous. I mean, beautiful eye candy. I mean, there's a lot of other publishers, Amazing Stories. Spider was a great one. Spice Detective. Check those out at some point. They're just really cool books to give you an idea of what was being published at the time.
Interesting. Pulp comics making the list. Oh, it's a good time. Good time to be into comics right now. All right, let's talk about Shredder in Hell, number 1, coming in at number 7. This right here is just a variant. We have Raphael Albuquerque. It's a 1 in 10. Very cool Shredder cover. I got a tattoo of Shredder on my arm, one of my all-time favorite villains from one of my all-time favorite series. Now, this is a cool book, and it was looking like it was going to be pushing that $50 mark throughout the month, but it's definitely dropped a little bit. So now's a great time if you're looking for this variant. It's going for between 20 and 30 bucks. And there's actually a handful of other variants that came out alongside of this. My personal favorites are the Fire and Ghost variants. There's Virgin variants, rather, of these books. And also, got to give love to that Kevin Eastman variant.
Yeah, that's my favorite of all of them. I mean,
he does that classic Shredder, man.
Yeah, tried and true. Kevin Eastman, all the way through.
And even that one's affordable, coming in at like right around $18 to $30. And that had a spike at like $50 at one point last month. So let's keep an eye on these books. This is a good time to commit to getting one if you're looking to get it on the cheap.
Wow.
Let's chat about number 6.
Starting number 6 is Wonder Comics 11.
Weird cover.
Weird cover for sure. This is actually the superhero on here is Wonder Man. And then his girlfriend as well, who they both have abilities.
She's terrified.
Yeah, she looks terrified on this cover because you got this half man, half bat, half Barney dinosaur creature. She's scared. He's there to help. But
that's great.
Right, and this is the industry cover. It's done by Graham Ingalls, who's mostly known for doing EC stuff, but he did the artwork on this. And this book has had some good, strong sales of late. There was a 6.0 that sold last year for $700, but a 6.0 just sold again for $1,100.
Ooh, gold is spiking, man. Like it hasn't in years.
Yeah, I mean, it's usually been pretty consistent, but like we're seeing leaps and bounds. And like I said, you're seeing a ripple effect. You know, these other ones are becoming so unattainable that other books are starting to grow.
Come out the woodwork.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay, another surprising run to some collectors, maybe this next one on the list. Coming in at number 5, we have My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic #1. This is the Twilight Sparkle variant. Now, this is an interesting one to make the list because, okay, you ready for this price?
Oh, yeah.
Sold for $600.
So I'm a big Pony fan. Growing up with my kids, they loved to watch it. It was a hilarious show and funny comics because they read the comics. But a modern My Little Pony book going for that much? I mean, what's the deal with this book?
Okay, so I went on eBay to check this out because this is a variant by Sarah Richard. And funny thing, I actually went through to check out the listing, and in the description says that it's being sold by Sarah Richard, the artist of the cover. She actually sold her own copy, and she signed it before sending it off. So this may be a good example of a book that, yes, it did spike, but there's a little bit of an inflated reason because honestly, if Mike Mignola sold a Hellboy book on eBay, someone would pay an inflated amount just to know they were getting it from the source himself. You know, this is a collector buying from the content creator. But this book is scarce, can't find much on it. It's a 1 in 25 variant. It's really cool. I don't know if $600 though is where it's going to be standing. And if you find one in the wild, I don't know if it's going to bring that, you know, or anything nearly as close. I remember back in 2013 when Friendship is Magic came out. Within that first year, it broke records. It was IDW's highest selling comic book run to date at that time. In celebration, they actually made a 1 and 1 million, which really means just one copy, one issue that was sent off to charity, being sold by Heritage Auctions. And it sold for over $6K. And then they also made 12 like B variants that went off to be sold by just like doing these random different drawings and contests. Those books went for $2,000 to $3,000. So like My Little Pony, this is a collector's market that they're diehard. Like we're talking have reached a level of Star Wars and wrestling fanaticism.
Yeah, I mean, I learned to appreciate the ponies through my kids because I was exposed to it. So if you haven't been exposed to it, give it a chance because it's freaking hilarious. I'll be honest with you.
Absolutely, the demographics are spread very wide, and it's a great show. Let's move on to number 4 on the list.
So coming in that spot is going to be Military Comics #1. So this book has really gotten some heat because there's rumors of Spielberg taking on a Black Hawk movie. So Black Hawk's first appearance is in this issue. It's actually a really good origin story. And it's basically about a squadron of pilots who are the best pilots in the world fighting in World War II. And obviously there's going to be an origin tale of something tragic that gets this hero to really step up to the next level of fighting just war in general and evil. But this book came out in 1941.
So what's this book pricing at?
So we just saw 4.0 sell for $3K. But just last year, I could have bought a 6.5 for $3K.
Ooh, that's some gains.
Absolutely. I mean, this is 2.5 points higher for the same dollar amount. So
it's interesting too to see war comics getting some love as well. Because I mean, horror, you kind of expect that. I mean, that's an easy sell to a collector who's really getting into Golden Age because they're all so gorgeous. The covers are they're really like they'll hit you in the gut. But I'm actually starting to take a look at some of these war covers, especially at the last show, and my interest is starting to peak.
This is a long-running character, okay? And eventually, even when DC purchased the rights to the character and had its own run and title. I mean, this is a very popular war character who's got a long, rich history.
The Silver Age appearances of Black Hawk are also super affordable.
Yeah, they are, and the covers are great.
Yep, absolutely. Let's move on. Grim Fairy Tales Volume 2, the Mike Chrome variant. This is a Lady of the Lake variant. It's just a gorgeous cover. You're going to see a lot of Grim Fairy Tales variants actually spike because the collectors of this run, they're really appreciate the storytelling here, and it's because it's interesting. Each one of these issues, you get 2 stories. You have like a one overarching story that's coupled with a kind of a dramatic retelling, a modern version of like old fairy tales. Little Red Riding Hood remastered with very attractive ladies and just like deep, dark fantasy storytelling.
So I'm not that familiar with the storytelling of Grim Fairy Tales, but what are some of the numbers we're seeing for this issue?
Throughout the month, this book was going for between 15 and 20, and I took a look before we sat at the table to just see if this was going up anymore, and we're seeing listings starting at $30. So I wouldn't be surprised if it stays around there, but who knows? This cover may be a fan favorite.
Yeah, I actually bought a collection like probably 4 years ago of like 10 short boxes, and those are heavy short boxes, I'll tell you that much. They were all raw, unbagged, and unboarded.
Are they still unbagged and boarded?
Yep. Yep. I bragged and boarded some of them, but I don't know how many I have, and they're just sitting there.
All right. Well, if you need any, hit Jeff up. And but not before he tells you about this Golden Age comic coming up on the list.
So the last one on this list is Wiz Comics with the second appearance of Captain Marvel. So we know a Shazam movie is coming out. So just to clear it up a little bit, Shazam is Captain Marvel from the Golden Age. And his name actually is letters of Immortals that spell the name Shazam. So when he yells Shazam, that gives him his power. So that's where we get that name for that title. So just so it's clear for everybody. But this book had a 1.5 sale, $6,000. Okay? Yet in 2014, that same book sold for $1,300.
Whoa. Okay. So we're definitely seeing some movie hype here.
Yeah, movie hype and more exposure to the character who was a great character through the Golden Age. Outsold Batman.
Outsold Superman.
And Superman at times. And it's just, they're just tough books. And it's a cool cover, tie this big cannon into a knot, and taking the soldiers that he's fighting and literally going to toss them at his soldier buddies.
That's right. He's going to use them to fight him off.
Exactly.
This is great. Are you seeing this run, different Captain Marvel comics starting to spike in the community?
Yeah, they all are. Period.
All of them.
Yeah. I mean, they're all spiking. Their demand is all spiking, and rightfully so.
Fantastic. All right, last one on the list. We have Amazing Spider-Man 667, the Gabriel Delgado 1 in 100 variant. This is a really cool book to see make the list. Haven't talked about it yet. Great time to do it. So back when 666 came out, if you can remember, this was the Spidey Island series, okay? There was a lot of hype around this title at that point. They actually had that hashtag Spidey Island go viral, causing a massive spike in sales. We saw Spider-Man 666 break 150,000 comics printed when that was released. Major records were being broken with that at that time. It was definitely a big spike in that run for printing. And what ended up happening is it shot 667 in the foot because we saw that spike. And then we saw a lot of stores drop off and not order nearly as much because we had a ton of variants coming out at that time. So when 667 hit the stands, they only saw a sale of 80,000. Almost half of what was sold that prior month. So when 667 came out and there was a 1 in 100 variant, you can assume that there's only going to be a few hundred of these books that were made. But according to census records, according to the CGC census, it actually appears that there's probably less than that even. So why are we bringing that up? Well, because if there's less than 200 in circulations, you're going to see a lot of these go for high prices. And a recent sale of this book peaking at $13,000. Yep. So this is a book. It's a modern book. It's a 1 in 100. So yeah, it's super rare, but it's probably even scarcer. Keep an eye out for this. You got to just know this cover. It's kind of like, you got to know how to spot that Bone #1 when it's presented. You got to spot that Johnny Homicidal Maniac #1. There's books that you just got to know, even if the odds of you finding it on the hunt are slim to none.
Exactly. This is why we do these videos. These prices are really high. We're not going to pretend, okay? But someone's paying them. So
yeah, there's a collector out there.
Yeah, someone's going to find this book and someone's going to know. So why not can it be you?
I was at the con recently in SoCal, right? And there was a He-Man variant. It was a retailer exclusive variant. And it's one of the rarest ones. I mean, if I can remember what it is, I'll put it on the screen. I was unaware of this book, that it even existed because it was such a low print count. And the dealer that was there told me that he paid $3 for it because he follows a lot of different Facebook auctions and someone happened to throw it up and it went for $3. So it's important for you to know these covers because you never know the position you may be in. And if you don't snag it up, someone else will beat you to it.
They will. So whatever era or time frame you like, know as much about it as possible, and you will see that it will pay off in dividends for sure.
Thank you so much to comicbookinvest.com CBSI, who puts out the Hot 10 list every week that we cover, but also goes out of the way to add those couple extra honorable mentions just to sweeten the pot. We do appreciate your time today, comic fan. We look forward to seeing you very soon. Hit that subscribe button. We do make a lot of comic book content. And as always,
geek responsibly.
Enough said. Oh, the boy who had 7, you won the Superman hardcover graphic novel from last month's honorable mention. Yeah, this is a giveaway that we've had on the table for a month for today's honorable mention. because you gotta be following us because we're doing like literally giveaways from a month ago today. That's how we roll. But if you wanna qualify for a giveaway today, what do I got here? I have this. You're gonna love it. Hologram Namor issue number 37. It is so shiny, and we're gonna be sending this out. But anyways, like and subscribe, comment down below to let us know what you think about these honorable mentions, and the link is in the bio to sign up to our comic book subscription service, the Mystery Mail Call. Great time to join the community. We are sending out a Hulk 181. Link in the bio, sign up.